Good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I just wanted to look over some of today's assignment to give you a better idea of what's going on. So you'll see that you have one activity today called biography notes. It's worth 20 points, and I'm not looking for specific things. It's just more of a completion kind of thing. Like, what do you need in order to complete tomorrow's assignment, which is tomorrow you'll be writing a short essay, so we're taking notes to prepare for that essay. So these are more meant to help you, right? So let's take a look at the excerpt from today, which I have already loaded up. So I'm going to read this aloud so that you can follow along, and actually let's look at some of our questions to kind of help guide us through this first. So let's look at the biography notes. Okay. So Chenrow's description of Angelica and how she is portrayed in Satisfied. So how do we know she is portrayed in Satisfied? We watched Satisfied yesterday. We listened to Satisfied yesterday. So let's take a look here. And let's look at the event as it plays out according to Alexander Hamilton's biography. So Chernow wrote this biography, which is what Lin-Manuel Miranda based the musical off of. So let's read this. Hamilton wooed Schuyler that winter with all the verbal resources at his disposal. He even composed a romantic sonnet entitled Answer to the Inquiry When I Sighed, Why I Sighed. A sonnet is a poem. Its couplets included these lines. Before no mortal ever knew a love like mine so tender true. No joy unmixed my bosom warms, but when my angel's in my arms. Though Schuyler knew that Hamilton was a figure of awesome intelligence, he won her more with his kindly nature than with his intellect. She was to recollect fondly one of his favorite sayings, "My dear Eliza, I have a good head, but thank God he has given me a good heart." In later years, when harvesting anecdotes about her husband, Eliza Hamilton gave correspondents a list of his qualities that she wanted to illustrate, and it sums up her view of his multiple talents. Elasticity of his mind, meaning he was open-minded. Variety of his knowledge, meaning he had a lot of knowledge about a lot of different things. Playfulness of his wit, so he was fun. Excellence of his heart, his immense forbearance and virtues. When he wrote to John Laurens on March 30th, 1780, Hamilton neglected to mention either Schuyler or his abrupt decision to marry her, a curious lack of candor. Then, on June 30th, he broke down and confessed all to his friend. I give up my liberty to Miss Schuyler. She is a good-hearted girl who I am sure will never play the Tremagen. Though not a genius, she has good sense enough to be agreeable, and though not a beauty, she has a fine black eyes. It's rather handsome and has every other requisite of the exterior to make a lover happy. Hamilton knew that he sounded less than enraptured and that Lawrence might suspect him of marrying Schuyler for her money. So he continued, and believe me, I am a lover in earnest, though I do not speak of the perfections of my mistress in the enthusiasm of chivalry. Lest Lawrence experience a jealous pang, Hamilton added a few months later, in spite of Schuyler's black eyes, I have still a part for the public and another for you. And he promised he would be no less devoted to his friend after marriage than before. So he's saying, Lawrence, I'm not going to stop loving you. You're one of my closest friends. It doesn't matter if we're jealous. It doesn't matter if I'm married now. I'm still going to be your close friend. And if you remember, Lawrence is the guy that opens up Satisfied with, all right, all right, all right. You know what I'm talking about. If you watched it, you know what I'm talking about. Hamilton delighted in the company of all the Schuyler sisters. Eliza's younger sister, Peggy, was very beautiful, but vain and supercilious. She married Stephen Van Rensselaer, 6 years her junior, the 8th patron of Rensselaer, and the largest landowner in New York State. Starting with that first winter in Morristown, Hamilton was drawn almost magnetically to Eliza's married older sister, Angelica, and spent the rest of his life beguiled by both Eliza and Angelica, calling them my dear brunettes. Together, the two eldest sisters form a composite portrait of Hamlet's ideal woman, each appealing to a different facet of his personality. Eliza reflected Hamilton's earnest sense of purpose, determination, and moral rectitude, while Angelica exhibited his worldly side, the wit, charm, and vivacity that so delighted people in social intercourse. The attraction between Hamilton and Angelica was so potent and obvious that many people assumed that they were in fact lovers. At the very least, theirs was a friendship of unusual ardor. and it seems plausible that Hamilton would have proposed to Angelica, not Eliza, if the older sister had been eligible. Angelica was more Hamilton's counterpart than Eliza. James McHenry once wrote to Hamilton that Angelica charms in all companies. No one has seen her of either sex who has not been pleased with her, and she pleased everyone, chiefly by means of those qualities which made you the husband of her sisters. John Truble's portrait of Angelica shows a fetching woman with a long, pale face, dark eyes, and a pretty, full-lipped mouth, who is voguishly dressed and looks more sophisticated than Eliza. Angelica had a more mysterious femininity. I can't say that word. Femininity. She was more appealing as a woman than her sister, the kind that often exerts a powerful hold on the male imagination. A playful seductress, she loved to engage in repartee, discuss books, strum the guitar, and talk about current affairs. She was to serve as muse to some of the smartest politicians of her day, including Thomas Jefferson, Robert R. Livingston, and most of all, Hamilton. Angelica was one of the few American women of her generation as comfortable in a European drawing room as in a Hudson River parlor, and there was a gossipy irreverence about her that seemed very un-European. Unlike Eliza, she learned to speak perfect French. Where Eliza bowed reluctantly to the social demands of Hamilton's career, Angelica applauded his ambitions and was always famished for news of his latest political exploits. For the next 24 years, Angelica expressed open fondness for Hamilton in virtually every letter that she sent to her sister or to Hamilton himself. Hamilton always wrote to her in a buoyant, flirtatious tone. Especially as his mind grew burdened with affairs of state, Angelica provided an outlet for his boyish side. To Eliza he wrote tenderly and lovingly, but seldom in the arch voice of gallantry. It is hard to escape the impression that Hamilton's married life was somewhat a curious ménage à trois, but with two sisters, who were only 1 year apart. Angelica must have sensed that her incessant adoration of Hamilton, far from annoying or threatening her beloved younger sister, filled her with ecstatic pride. Their shared love for Hamilton seemed to deepen their sisterly bond. Ironically, Eliza's special treatment to Angelica gave Hamilton a cover for expressing affection for Angelica that would certainly have been forbidden with other women. So there's quite a few words in here that you may not understand. Take that time to actually Google them. If you don't know what ménage à trois means, ménage à trois, it's a French word, and it means basically like a three-way affair. Gallantry, if you don't know what that means, look it up. Look up some of these words if you don't know what they mean. And go back to your notes and take notes on these things. The who, what, when, where, why, how are meant to help guide you find some of the answers. So look at how Eliza's portrayed in the biography and how she's portrayed in Helpless. Look at how Hamilton and Angelica's relationship is portrayed in the biography and how it is in the musical. So that's basically all you need to do for today, and just take some time and look at those things. Answer these questions as you see fit. I'm not looking for a specific thing, but it's going to help you with tomorrow's writing assignment. So have a good day, and if you need me, message me.